What is going on, guys? Flossie here, bringing you a Battlefield 4 video. This is a video that I've meant to do for quite some time now, but could never really figure out, I guess, how I wanted to present it or how I wanted to do it. And I just finally came to the conclusion that, you know what, instead of sitting down, instead of scripting things, instead of, you know, analyzing everything, breaking it down into the good, the bad, and all of that, I'm just going to sit down and discuss the topic with you guys of whether or not Battlefield 4 is a game of lost potential. Now, here in the background, you're going to see me playing a number of different maps, some DLC, some vanilla, different game modes. There's some Rush, I think there's some Conquest and Domination, and it's pretty much just a good example of just general gameplay from Battlefield 4. So, there's the question, there's the topic of this video right here, is Battlefield 4 a game of lost potential? And that's a really hard question to answer, because in a lot of ways, and even in some really key ways, it's honestly embarrassing, to the point, like, embarrassing for DICE as a company to have such a good reputation. In some ways, yes, Battlefield 4 is in fact a game of lost potential, because it has not, at least has not yet, if it does plan to, it hasn't reached the potential that was originally hyped up for the game, the potential that you can clearly see while playing the game. Even when you're having all the fun and experiencing all the good things in the game, you can still very clearly see this game has not reached its full potential. And now I've got to hand it to DICE and EA. Since the CTE has come out, the community test environment on the PC, they have been churning out great updates consistently. We actually just had an update just a couple of days ago that finally added us to fine-tune our sensitivity so that we can have aim down the sight sensitivity and then, you know, soldier sensitivity, two different things. And that's really great. And there's also been a bunch of other little things that have really made a big difference in the past, you know, month or so since the CTE was introduced. But still, just I really don't know, guys. Like, in short, I'm gonna say yes. Battlefield 4 is in fact a game of lost potential. Like I said, it simply hasn't reached the potential that it could, and you can see this. It is so blatantly obvious playing the game. Now, is Battlefield 4 a bad game? No, I don't think Battlefield 4 is a bad game at all. I love Battlefield 4. I've enjoyed plenty of time with it. I have about 250 hours or so, and I've calmed down recently just because I mean, really just a lack of people to play with on Battlefield 4, and then there was the whole Titanfall scene with Titanfall coming out, and I finally ended up getting around to Call of Duty Ghost and playing that. So I've calmed down on Battlefield 4 lately, but just extremely recently I've caught back up to it. You know, I'm playing some Rush, playing a bunch of other things, and while I was thinking about how I wanted to make this video, I decided to go back and play Battlefield 3. Now, I'm a console player. I play Battlefield 4 on my Xbox One. I played Battlefield 3 on the olden system, the Xbox 360. So, obviously, I understand there's a lot of different things there, especially when you compare it to, you know, the PC version. You know, we only had, what, like 12v12 or something. Conquest was basically unplayable. Rush was the only game mode. It was, even Rush occasionally could get slow pace, and obviously the graphics and texture and everything downgraded. But I loved Battlefield 3 on the Xbox 360. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Had probably about 500, 600 hours logged into that game. Never reached Kernel 100, but it was a fantastic game, and all you guys have to do is go back on any platform. I don't care, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, whatever. Go back and play Battlefield 3 just for 2 matches. Just sit there, get a good feel for the game, and play it. And it feels so incredibly responsive in comparison to Battlefield 4. Everything you do in Battlefield 4 feels just, I want to say, incomplete. Like I said, it's not, I don't think Battlefield 4 is a bad game. If I had to rate it, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's got a lot of flaws. It launched in an atrocious state, but I don't think it's a bad game. I do enjoy the game very, very much from time to time. And on pretty much all game modes. I've loved Domination, introduced in Battlefield 4, and Conquest is loads of fun on next gen with 64 players. Like I said, not a bad game at all. But of course, all of that has to do with the problem that we all know Battlefield 4 has, and that is the netcode. Now, there was a previous update just a couple weeks ago that did improve the netcode. I don't want to worry about the netcode for too long. The netcode's bad. It launched bad. It's probably not going to get much better than the current state that it's in, which is much better, but still not all that great. There we go, in the conversation. We understand that. So what did Battlefield... Let's think about this. What did Battlefield 4 do right? Well, besides a little bit of parts being redundant, the customization I think is amazing. I think a lot of the cool new things that they did with vehicles is great. I really like the new maps. The gun balance is generally pretty good. But, I mean, there's not a whole lot of things that just strike out as, you know, boom, they nailed it right on the dot. Fantastic. I mean, of course, the infantry combat is good when the netcode is in your favor, but the netcode still kind of diminishes the quality of that aspect of the game. And then we get to the vehicles, which some maps, vehicles just aren't very balanced on. Say, Lankang Dam is very unbalanced when it comes to vehicles. And probably my biggest gripe with the game as a whole, besides, you know, obvious things, netcode, little bugs, sound glitches, all these things, is the fact that the Battlefield 4 pretty much destroyed Rush. Now, like I said, I'm a console player, so I pretty much started Battlefield on Rush, and I love Rush. Even to this day, I think Rush is the best game mode. It is one of my favorite game modes that has ever been put into a first-person shooter. And the Battlefield 4 maps just weren't designed with them in mind, and I hope the CTE updates that we're supposed to get soon that are supposed to help that do bring Rush back in to full force, but I just don't see it happening. And that's the problem with, even if the game does get in its potential, its original potential state, the damage is already done. The game has launched bad, and I feel bad for DICE in that aspect because, you know, Hardline, despite the fact, you know, Visceral is making Battlefield Hardline probably isn't going to sell as well. The next main Battlefield title probably isn't going to sell as well. And that's really a shame because every other Battlefield game pretty much besides Battlefield 4 launched relatively well. Now, I understand Battlefield 3 had its issues, but Battlefield 3 fixed them very quickly and became a fantastic game. Another issue with Battlefield 4 is they pretty much destroyed aerial combat. There are so many different things that can take out aerial vehicles, it's not even funny. But, yeah, as like I said, there's a lot of issues with Battlefield. I hope it comes up to snuff with what it was originally intended to be, but the damage is already done. And in I guess, summarizing, is Battlefield 4 a game of lost potential? I'm gonna say yes. Is Battlefield 4 a bad game? No, it's just a little disappointing that the launch itself was disappointing as a whole, and just the performance of the game, the multiple issues we've had, how long it has taken to get things such as squad feature in for consoles and all these other things, has really diminished the quality of DICE's name. So that's really all I wanted to do. I hope I didn't sound like a rant too much, but yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Battlefield 4 is a game of lost potential? If you do, let me know why. If you don't, let me know that as well. What do you like and dislike about Battlefield 4, and what do you hope for the future? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, stay flossy out there.
The enemy has taken control of Objective Alpha.